Sorry, everyone ran out of batteries. Yeah, what we were just talking about, we were talking about Antonio Garcefo again. He has a YouTube channel that you guys should check out. It's called Martial Arts Odyssey, I think. Is that what it's called?
Yep.
Yeah, and he's a fascinating person, Antonio. He's written a few books, a few of which you gifted me. He has.
I think his book was really amazing.
I haven't read it yet.
Everything.
I haven't read it yet, but I'm going to.
Because basically he explained how because he's starting his martial art journeys in Shaolin Temple too.
Okay. Yeah, I should put a link to his books in the description as well. He trained in the Shaolin Temple. He trained in Indonesia, trained in Thailand, trained in Cambodia, trained in several places in China. He actually got his PhD from the Shanghai Sports University, I think. Yes, he was a PhD, really intelligent man, really well spoken.
And he speaks Cambodian, he speaks Chinese. I think now he's in Mongolia.
Yeah, he's in Mongolia.
Yeah, he's learning Mongolian right now too.
Yeah, he speaks Italian and French and Spanish. The guy is a genius.
Yeah.
His YouTube channel isn't super popular, and I
think it's not too popular. It's popular for the martial artists.
Yeah,
you know, for the martial art community, this is like very popular. You know, because you learn a tons of things from this channel. You know, because all his travel and all that knowledge that he's sharing to us.
Yeah, and I actually found out about Antonio before I ever even knew about his channel, because I used to read Black Belt magazine every month.
Oh right.
And I remember once
because he's wrote a lot of article on the Black Belt magazine.
Yeah, and he wrote an article about prepping for an MMA fight, and I think he was like in his 40s or 50s when he took his first MMA fight. Like he was pretty old, you know, and he took his first professional MMA fight. And he ended up winning and doing really well, but he was talking about training in Malaysia for it. But I remember it was a 5-part series, and so for 5 months I was fascinated by him. And so before I even learned about his YouTube channel, I read his entries in Black Belt magazine, and then I actually found him and contacted him on Facebook.
Right.
And he is one of the reasons I went to Southeast Asia, because I messaged him and I was like, dude, I want to travel and train like you. And he was like, and he is the reason I went to Cambodia. I said, I'm thinking of going to Thailand and doing Muay Thai. And he said, you should go to Cambodia. And so he's the reason.
So basically just promoting Cambodian martial arts for you, right?
Yeah, he's the one who sent me there. Yeah, so if it weren't for Antonio, I never would have met you, never would have met Tarawat.
I feel like everything's happened for a reason, for somehow. It's all a lot of connection right there, you know?
It's pretty insane. It's a pretty crazy story. Yeah, but Antonio's a fascinating guy. So yeah, we were talking about Antonio before after the last battery ran out, and we're just saying he was the first foreigner to go learn Bokator in Cambodia, and I remember I think it was my second trip to Cambodia. I think I've been to Cambodia 4 times, 5 times, and I lived there for 2 years, one of those trips. But it was my first or second trip. I actually was in Siem Reap, and I went and I was waiting at a bus stop. I was waiting for a bus to come pick me up. And there were pictures of Antonio, like pasted to a wall.
Wow, really?
Yeah, it was, and he had like his Bokator, like his kroma, like he had one around his head and one around his waist, and he was like doing his stance. Yeah, and I was like, what the heck? Yeah, and I took a picture and sent it to him. I was like, dude, are you famous in Cambodia or something? So yeah, I don't think anyone else knew who he was, but I saw it and I knew who he was.
Yeah.
But
I mean, what year was it? Because I know him on YouTube back in 2010, 2011. That's when he posted a lot of videos about Bokator and stuff. So I started watching I started to learn some from his YouTube channel too.
Yeah.
Just here and there, but it's not like I complete, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I think Antonio even went and did some of the maybe it wasn't Antonio. Did you ever watch the it was the Prodal Saray episode of...
Oh, I think you're talking about...
What was it called?
The History Channel.
Yeah, it was like the History Channel
thing.
Yeah,
it's called Human Weapons.
Yeah. Did you ever see that?
Yes, I saw that.
They went and did a Cambodian wrestling.
Yeah, so in that episode, they not only go through Bokator, Prodal Saray, and also they have a wrestling.
Yeah, so they visited a ton of things.
Yes, tons of things. Yeah. And at the end of the... episode, they have to get into a ring and to fight.
Yeah, and do a kunkamai fight. Yeah. So, have you ever done any Cambodian wrestling?
No, I haven't yet. I think in the Cambodian Bokator system, you have a certain rank before you have to complete all these rank first before you get able to learn the wrestling and the jiu-jitsu style or the grappling and all of this.
Yeah. Now, don't they wrestle in the dirt in the Cambodian style, just like
It's just
like in India?
Yeah, just back in the old days. Just
Yeah.
like back in the old days. Yeah.
Yeah, and Tarawat told me that they used to practice their wrestling at night because it wasn't so hot, and in the rice fields because you could throw each other and you'd land in soft mud instead of like on hard dirt.
Yeah.
Which I thought was pretty freaking cool. You know, imagine all these
Yeah,
warriors.
that's how like
waking
in the
up
old days, like I mean, they in the
Yeah.
ancient time they just practice on the dirt and stuff to get dirty and stuff, you know.
And I tried to find some Cambodian wrestling because I really wanted to just try it for fun, but I couldn't find any place that taught it. And I asked Tarawat to help me find a place, but she didn't know where it was either.
Yeah. I think
yeah.
you have to know someone.
Probably have to know people, yeah.
To know people because sometimes one of those like wrestling master,
Yeah.
they kind of like live in a hidden village.
Yeah,
or somehow.
that's what
they
I
don't
heard.
They don't want to teach anybody besides you know, foreigner or even like some Cambodian not able to learn it too, you know. It's kind of, it's like a secret martial arts something
Yeah,
for
it's
their
like
own
very-
family, you know.
Yeah.
That's how like you talk about that. It's like Chinese kung fu too. They have like you know how like when we live in our Xigong, they have
Yeah.
like a five families, you know.
Yeah.
There's a Li, there's a Hung, there's a lot of families
Yeah.
march on. They have their own kind of branch of style
Yeah.
that you're not able to combine it together.
Yeah. Well, hey, if you ever find out
Yeah.
where to train Cambodian wrestling,
sure,
please
yeah.
tell me.
Yeah, of course.
'Cause I love grappling, as
Yeah,
you know,
me too.
and I'm way better at it than I am at
'Cause,
striking.
I mean, I always look at the temple. You know, they have everything. They have grappling. They have like jujitsu.
Yeah.
They have wrestling. They have like you know animal forms in there.
Yeah.
I don't know like if you've been travel all the temple to see all those sculpture.
No, I've never traveled to. I've never been to China.
I mean,
You
like
talking about
Cambodia.
China?
Talking about Cambodia.
Oh
Yeah.
yes.
Because there's a lot of all those sculpture. Sometimes it's not only in the Angkor Wat temple,
Yeah.
but there's certain other temple that have
Oh yeah.
certain like you know all the sculpture of different.
There's sculptures of people fighting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There's that ancient, and then it's like what 3,000 years old. That's carving of a guy doing a rear naked choke.
Yeah,
I don't remember how old it is, but yeah, that's a cool.
I felt like
yeah.
you know like Cambodian martial art is more older than that, you know,
I
because
mean,
Shaolin is about like 1,500 years old, but Bokator is more like this is like 2,000 years old because the Angkor Wat built in the 12th centuries.
okay.
So they already have that before
Yeah.
they built the Angkor Wat. If they don't have it, why how they?
Because
they,
the martial arts carvings and
Yeah.
statues are at Angkor Wat. Yeah.
Yeah.
So clearly they're
yeah the science
extremely old.
science still like you know figured out how this you know
Yeah.
get into the Angkor Wat temple.
Dude,
the
I love
carving.
Angkor Wat. How many times have you been to Angkor Wat?
The first time I've been in Angkor Wat in 1999.
Okay.
Yeah,
Was it super crowded?
no. It's just like basically, rarely people go visit
Really?
because they still developing.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
in the 1990s or early 2000, people still you know couldn't
Yeah.
afford it to go. Even like they live in the Cambodia, they cannot afford it to go.
Yeah.
Or they're still developing. I was so
Yeah.
lucky to go to Angkor Wat temple for so many times.
So early, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you get to go in for free because you're
Yeah.
Cambodian, right?
So there's a few times because I'm look Chinese, right?
Oh.
They
Do you have
thought
a Cambodian passport?
I do.
Okay.
So I'm a dual citizenship.
But you can speak fluent Cambodian, so they should know you're not Chinese.
Yes. So because of my look, I'm look Chinese,
Mm.
right? Now there's a lot of like Chinese investor and a lot of Chinese people live in Cambodia.
Yeah.
So every time if I go there, I'm always like a foreigner. I'm not like really Cambodian, you know, because of how I look and how I speak. They thought like I'm a foreigner, so I was like I have to pay. But I have my you know my ID,
the ID,
or my
yeah.
passport that says this is me, you know, and I
Yeah.
speak fluent Cambodian.
Yeah.
And I said, oh, okay, you're Cambodian, you know.
Yeah.
And they say, oh, I thought you're Korean or Japanese or Chinese or whatever. It's always so funny to me, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just for context, for any listeners, Angkor Wat is the biggest Buddhist temple in the world, and it's also the oldest temple in the world. Just to give you an idea of how huge Angkor Wat is, they offer 11-day tours. an 11-day tour so you can see all of Angkor Wat. Just to give you an idea of how vastly massive it is. It used to essentially be a small village. It's a temple, but it used to be a small village if you read about the history. So when I first went to Angkor Wat in 2017, I think, it was extremely crowded. And of course,
is it 2017?
I think so, but I'm not positive.
Yeah, that's when I went to in 2017 too. I think it's like around summertime, and it's a lot of people.
So many people, so crowded.
Yeah.
And so this is a cool thing that I was able to do. I was living in Cambodia when COVID hit. And so there were no tourists when I was living in Cambodia. So Tarawat, she and I hopped on a motorcycle and we just drove into Angkor Wat. There was no guard to stop us. They didn't charge us anything because
that was
there was
so
nobody
cool.
there. And Tarawat and I, we went twice to Angkor Wat. It was so cool. Nobody there. It was Tarawat and myself and monkeys.
I saw that picture.
It was so cool.
It was so cool.
And so we just got to drive around the entire temple. No traffic. No one trying to sell us anything or charge us money. No tourists bugging us. I don't know if it was like this for you, but when I went to Angkor Wat in 2017, I guess because I'm a foreigner, everybody was constantly trying to sell me stuff.
Right.
I would be walking and people would just run to me trying to sell me books and photos and it was kind of annoying.
Yeah.
And so, man, when I went back with Tarawat and it was just empty, it felt like a movie, man. Like it felt like some sort of a movie,
like Tomb Raider,
like where
right?
everybody dies, and like it's me and Tarawat, the last
It's like
people
a
on
Gulf
Earth.
City.
Yeah, and it was so amazing.
I think that's like such a good experience.
It's one of the best experiences of my life, going to Angkor Wat when it was empty. Yeah.
I really want to go there, and when there's nobody's there, just So it's basically you just put yourself like in the nature, and plus you just like walking to see the temple.
Do you know Tarawat's friend Sony? Boramai, something like that is her name. You probably don't know her. But anyway, her family lives within the borders of Angkor Wat. They live there, like they have a house that's like you can see Angkor Wat from their house.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and so
I would want her to take me to her family's house.
Well, it's really cool because you're right next. You know how like the big moat.
Basically, that's like just get out of your house. There's Angkor Wat just right there.
Yeah, they're right there. And Boramai Sony, she has, I think she has like 7 siblings. Like they have a lot of siblings.
I think she have a big family.
Big family.
Yeah.
And so I went to visit her once, and they have a little restaurant where people can go eat. Oh, by the way, the food at Angkor Wat, what's that rice porridge called? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
And they put like onions and chicken on it.
Yeah, I think that's they call like babao.
Babao.
Yeah.
Oh my, I love
Which one
babao.
is it? The fish one or the pork one that you?
I always got chicken.
Chicken.
In mind. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But
I think
I love babao.
They're all good.
Babao was my favorite thing to eat in Cambodia, and I would eat babao every time I went to Angkor Wat.
You know how like for us, like in Cambodia they eat like a small kind of bowl. But for us, maybe we have like double or like a big bowl.
I would need to get like 3 bowls.
Yeah.
Because I eat like an American.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you grew up here.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I remember Tarawat and I would go to Angkor Wat, and I would get these fruit plates because they would just chop up a bunch of mango and a bunch of mangosteen. Oh, I love mangosteen.
Yeah.
So good. You can't find a good mangosteen in America. But yeah, they would chop up dragon fruit, and I just remember we'd go there and I would just eat so much mango and so much babao. And anyway, I loved going to Angkor Wat because I would just pig out on the most delicious fresh food you could imagine.
Do you ever have like a great experience with like you got like a free no charge when you're with Tarawat?
Yes. Because she was famous, yes, we would sometimes get free stuff. Because they'd always see me as a foreigner, and they'd try to like double charge.
Correct.
Like, oh, white guy, we're going to charge you $40 instead of 10. But then I'd be with Tarawat, and they would just give us stuff sometimes.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah, it was great. So sometimes I would go up to like try to buy something. Wherever we were, we'd be in a market or at a restaurant or whatever, and I'd try to buy something. And they'd be like, oh, $50. And I'd be like,
basically, they just try to rip you off.
Yeah. And so sometimes I would have to leave, and I'd go back to Tarawat, and I'd be like, Tarawat, I want that thing over there. Can you go get it for me? And Tarawat is also really good at negotiating, bargaining. Yeah.
Yeah.
So she'd come back and she'd be like, "Oh, got it for you, $2." So she used to get me stuff for so cheap and then sometimes for free because she was, we'd sometimes get rides for free. We'd get food for free because she was famous. Yeah. And also Tarawat is very outgoing and funny.
Right.
And she's not skinny.
I think she's like more like extrovert, huh?
Very extroverted. Yeah. So she's also not skinny like most Cambodian women. You know how most Cambodian women really try to be really thin?
Yeah. I think they torture themselves a lot.
Yeah. You know? Tarawat, she eats and she exercises. So she has like good muscle.
I felt like she had like a high metabolism just like me.
Yeah. Because she still has abs and stuff. Yeah. Like she's still trim. But she has like thick muscles.
I never see her like get any like overweight or anything because of her training and I think because of her metabolism like me.
Yeah.
I always like stay in the same, same fit, the same weight and stuff. Nothing changed.
I wonder if that's just like Khmer genetics, if a lot of
Cambodians
are that way. Because a lot of Cambodians are very trim. But yeah, I feel like a lot of the women over there almost torture themselves because they're so skinny.
You know, like they have to take some pills, get some shots.
Oh, wow.
All of that dirty stuff. Wow. Like, they just want to be like fit in.
Yeah.
And they I mean, like they use a shortcut,
Yeah, and something that I loved about Tarawat is that she was in the movie industry where so many women were like that, especially in Cambodia.
Yeah.
I went with her a few times to some photo shoots, and the women, they look very, and a lot of them are very beautiful, but, they have lots and lots of makeup, and they're very, very thin, and their smiles all looked fake to me. They'd smile. Like I went to a music video once, and this girl who was in the music video in Cambodia, she had this big smile, and it was totally fake. But when Tarawat would go act, she didn't read a script. She would like get an idea, and she would be so natural, and her smiles were real, and her body, she would never wear makeup, so she looked very natural.
I felt like everything like with Tarawat, everything like
very sincere,
so natural.
Yeah,
I mean like you're thinking about all those actors or actresses.
Yeah.
Once they out their makeup, they're like a totally different person. Have you seen that?
Yeah. I met lots of actors over there just because of Tarawat. I've never really met actors except with Tarawat because she introduced me to a lot of those people. But also, Tarawat wasn't super thin like the other women. She was like muscular and thick. But it was really, Tarawat is also very funny. I remember one day someone saw her and they were like surprised because like her legs and her butt were like very muscular. You know what I mean? Like they're thick, and most of the women over there have really small legs and small butts. And so this lady saw Tarawat and was like said something to her in Khmer, and then Tarawat responded in Khmer, and so she was like, "Oh, you're Cambodian," and then she asked her like, "Is your butt real?" And Tarawat looks at her and slaps her own butt and goes, "It's all real. It's all mine."
100%.
Tarawat was just very funny, and I loved how sincere she was.
I think she had like a lot of like sense of humor,
Very good sense of humor. Yeah, she was very fun to travel with for all those reasons. Yeah, and just so you guys, anyone listening knows, Tarawat is the reason that Sambo and I met. I was visiting Cambodia, and Sambo went to visit Cambodia, and Tarawat, I was hanging out with Tarawat, and
I think Tarawat introduced you to me.
Yeah, and Tarawat brought me to the restaurant.
Correct.
Yeah, and so you like bought us all coffee or something.
Yeah. I think that's in 2017 or 18?
It was, I don't remember.
Yeah.
But the crazy thing was, Tarawat told me, I have a friend coming into town. He's from America. Come meet him. I show up and I'm like, oh, he speaks English and everything. Where are you from? Utah, where I'm living. So it was just a cool coincidence. And then this is where it gets insane.
Really crazy story.
This is where it gets insane. I was like, oh, you're from Utah. And we start talking. And I find out that he's into Kung Fu. And we have the same Kung Fu teacher. And we've never met each other. So crazy coincidence, but freaking cool. Yeah. So yeah, we've just been friends ever since. And so, yeah. I've been wanting to get Sambo on my channel for a while, so we're finally getting to it.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Oh, absolutely, man. Yeah, thanks for being interviewed.
Of course.
Yeah, you're fascinating, and your story is fascinating, and it's so fun to meet people who understand different cultures. Most people only. I've lived in Mexico, Thailand, Cambodia, but I still don't really understand the cultures super well because I lived there in those places, and I
think it's even like sometime I lived there. even like I was born there, but like I lived in America for so long. When
Yeah.
I go back, every time it's always changed, and the
yeah.
custom always changed. Like I couldn't really fit in at all. Like I
Interesting.
felt like I'm more like American instead of
Well,
like
you've lived here longer.
yeah.
So.
So it's really tough for me just to
Yeah.
get into the custom.
Right.
Of it,
But still, you're a child of two cultures, you know.
I think it's more like three cultures.
Three cultures, what's the
It's
third
a-
one?
Chinese, Cambodian, and
Oh,
American
yeah.
culture. It's
Okay.
all three.
Okay.
So
Is one of your parents Chinese?
actually, all my families are Chinese.
Oh.
But
So did
because-
they migrate down to Cambodia or?
Yeah, so that's came from my great grandparents and my grandparents.
I did not know that about
came
you.
Came from China because
Okay.
escaping from the communist party and the war and all
Yeah.
that in the World War II and stuff. So it's kind of crazy story. So
Yeah, let's hear it.
yeah, my great grandparents, my grandparents, they all came from the boat. They
Okay.
just hop on the boat, whatever they, how like all the Chinese, some in Vietnam,
Yeah.
some in Thailand or in Laos and Vietnam, in Cambodia.
Yeah.
So they ending up landing in Cambodia.
Wow.
And they lived there, owning a business and all that, and lived there for like about more than like 20 years, and that's when Pol Pot's happened,
Yeah.
and they have to suffer again.
Yeah. Oh, man.
So it's like it's crazy, how you try to escape from another
These
country.
were your great grandparents?
Yeah, my great grandparents.
Oh, man. So they left
Because
China
I know
for
all
a
these
better
stories
life.
from my grandma, and a lot of my uncles and my aunt that told me all these stories. Even like from my
Yeah.
mom and my dad told me all this
Man.
story, what they've been through, and the Pol Pot, and how they've been suffering, and
Yeah.
especially my grandparents, my great grandparents.
Dude, you should write a book. You should get all the info you can from
No,
them.
that's why-
Because your English is better than all, they don't
Yeah.
speak English like you do. You should totally write a book.
That's
and
why
keep
I
that
always
history.
I always have that in mind in the future.
Yeah.
Do more podcasts, writing a books, or that's why I want to express myself into martial arts.
Yeah.
Because my grandpa, he's actually a kung fu master.
Oh, what style?
I don't know the style because
Hmm.
he's more like like master in China. It's more like kind of like
Okay.
secretive of teaching.
Right,
or
they're not super open.
showing. You know
Yeah.
how like when you watch a lot of kung fu movies, there's always like a secret of
Yeah,
style. Like they
yeah.
don't want to show off. Like
Right.
Ip Man,
Oh,
he
yeah.
know he's the best, but he don't want to like just show off. Like
Yeah.
oh, it's like I'm the best, in town.
Yeah.
So that's why everybody tried to go fight with him to see how good he is.
Yeah.
It's the same thing as how my
Right.
grandparents.
Yeah, that's
From-
that's
came from
exactly how
China.
the martial arts culture in China is. I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why when
Well, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, and
Is
that's-
he still alive?
so my grandpa has already passed away.
Okay.
Since I was born,
Oh, okay.
so I just hear all these crazy stories from my grandma, from my mom.
Yeah. Dang, it would have been
So-
cool if you could go train with him.
Yeah,
that would
because
have been great. But
I'm the only one that. So basically, I'm the first one that doing martial arts, and I
Yeah.
don't know that my grandpa doing martial arts.
yeah.
And now I'm getting all my brother Kirby's and all my cousin in Cambodia get into martial art too.
Yeah.
Because I'm they look up to me.
Okay.
How like I look up to Taro and to you.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
just to,
They see you as the
Mhm.
the predecessor to the
and also like because like how like doctor you have what 8 years or 10 years of
right
to become a doctor.
schooling. Yeah.
But like this is what I learned from Seagull. Martial art never stop.
Oh, of course.
Because
Yeah.
what he said, like he told me like there's like martial arts always like a continual martial art training. It's like a CMT,
Mm.
So like for like medical it's like MMT, or I mean like CMT is like continual medical
Okay. Yeah.
education or training,
yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
one of those. So
Yeah.
you
Absolutely.
keep thinking about like you're always looking to earn your rank and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, I mean, I've been doing martial arts about 21 years now,
yeah.
and I still learn new stuff.
Mhm.
Like, it's not uncommon. It's not like I learn something new every day, but
Mhm.
it's not uncommon that I'll go into a jiu-jitsu class. I've been doing jiu-jitsu 17 years,
Mhm.
and I'll still go to jiu-jitsu classes, and someone will show me a little detail, and it's like, wow.
I think everybody's
I just
kind
learned
of
something new.
They're like unique in their own.
Oh, that's
way,
true, too.
but-
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. You don't just learn a martial art.
Mhm.
Like, yeah, I'm learning
Sometimes like
jiu-jitsu.
I feel like you know things, but you don't until like you met someone You know?
Well, the thing is well, even if you meet somebody, like even if you have a great teacher who can help you learn a martial art, it's still different, like you were just saying, for the individual. You know, like the way I do jiu-jitsu, it's nothing like the way my teachers all did jiu-jitsu. They taught me moves, and I developed my own grappling system.
Right.
And
it's kind of like how like you're doing Jeet Kune Do too, right?
I've never done Jeet Kune Do.
Because that's the philosophy of Jeet Kune Do.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah. Because that's what Bruce Lee, like, he always said, like, about the Jeet Kune Do thing.
Yeah.
Like, he's still developing his own things.
Yeah.
But people are like, you know.
Keep what works and discard what doesn't work.
Yeah.
I can't remember the phrase, but it's something like that he says. That's exactly true. And every individual, different things work for different people, depending on how.
And I think it's on a different, depend on your different size and stuff. And,
if you're tall or short, heavy or light, if you're muscular or thin, all sorts of details. And also just what you can be exposed to, you know. Not everyone has a jiu-jitsu gym nearby. Not everyone has a kung fu gym nearby. It's just what can you get to and what can you train. And also what you grew up with, you know. I grew up watching Power Rangers.
You do?
When I was a kid, I loved Power Rangers and Ninja Turtles when I was a kid. That got me.
It was in it was in the 80s, right?
I was born in 87.
Okay, so that's when around your time Power Rangers came out in 1993.
Yeah.
So you was like, what,
I was like 6 or 7 years old. But yeah, Ninja Turtles, Power Rangers, and then Dragon Ball Z. Those were the three that really got me to start doing martial arts.
Which one is the best for you?
Dragon Ball Z. That's my favorite.
I grew up watching Dragon Ball Z too.
But this is real. I don't know if they still have Power Rangers on Netflix, but they did a few years ago. And a couple of years ago, like 3 years ago, I actually went back and watched the first 2 seasons of Power Rangers, and I loved it. I loved every minute of it. It was so fun.
I still love it. I think they have up to like...
well, the nostalgia is a big part of why we love it. But
I think they're up to like 20 season or something.
Really?
I don't know. I think they're up to like 30 season. I don't know, because they've been doing that for 30 years.
Yeah.
Next year, that's when they had to mark 30 years.
I stopped watching after Jason left. The original Red Ranger. He was my favorite.
Yeah.
And Tommy was really cool too.
Yeah. You know, Tommy just recently passed away.
Yeah, rest in peace. Yeah, really sad. Man, and he was cool because he was a Power Ranger that actually fought. He actually had MMA fights.
Yeah. I mean, like, his story is just so unique and complex.
So complex,
you know?
What a fascinating guy.
Yeah, and he just... That's why I look up to him too, because that's how I started doing martial art.
Yeah.
Just from like kung fu movies, watching Power Rangers, Ninja Turtle, Dragon Ball Z, anything that relating to fighting.
Yeah,
I just want to be like them, you know.
Yeah.
That's like our childhood, basically.
Yeah.
You know, just grew up watching all these shows and stuff.
Yeah, Power Rangers and Ninja Turtles. That was my childhood.
And somehow I got to perform my Bokator in front of Jason David Frank.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. And he asked me what style. That's like back in August.
Dude.
Yeah, and
did you get a picture with him?
I got a picture with him.
That is so cool,
and,
man.
He also recorded me too.
That is so cool.
Yeah, and all of a sudden, you know, he just...
How did he pass? Do you know? I read that he passed. But
I think he get into stress and depression because of his divorce.
Oh.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, no, he put a smile on everybody around the world.
Yeah.
Try to show that he's so, you know, positive, but with his own personal life,
it's depressing.
It's depressing, you know.
Oh, that's so sad.
Just one thing that can kill him, just that divorce, and that he just couldn't get it back, or...
That's really sad. Well, relationships...
Because he's basically like, he's a living legend.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh yeah, everybody who knows him, loves him. Yeah, and so many people, millions of people grew up watching him.
Yeah.
I remember, was it season 2 of the Power Rangers where he became White Ranger?
Yeah.
And I freaking lost him. I was a little 6 or 7-year-old Chris. I freaking lost my shit. Tommy is the White Ranger? What? Dude, he was, I loved watching him when I was younger.
I think he's one of the best.
Okay.
That's why people just, I know, like, between Austin and Jason, both of them, they're all like the best. But Tommy is like, it's more like...
He was the number one.
Yeah, he's like the number one, like, you know, like thinking about like green, white, red, black, all colors, you know.
Yeah, everybody loved Tommy the most. I actually liked Red Ranger the most when I was younger.
I like red too because it's my favorite color. You know? And he's pretty good. Yeah, he's really good.
Yeah, when I was like 6 and 7, I loved Red, and also he had the biggest muscles. So when I was like 7, I was like, oh, Red Ranger has the biggest muscles. He's the coolest.
Everybody wanted to become Red Rangers, you know.
Yeah, everybody loved him. But yeah, it's really sad. So did he commit suicide then? Is that?
Yeah, he committed suicide.
That's so tragic.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I just can't understand like why did you just do that? You know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, a failed relationship is really, really difficult. You know,
I've had a few. That can get people into like depression.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I've had a few failed relationships, and they are really difficult to deal with.
It's like you cannot escape. You know.
Yeah.
You have to face like reality, basically.
So if he was already suffering from depression and then went through a terrible divorce, I can understand that. But it's still super tragic. That's really sad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, rest in peace. Do you know where he's buried?
No, I don't. I think he lived in Texas. Probably it's like in Texas.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bruce Lee, he got the Bruce Lee jacket on.
Yeah, I do. I'm one of the huge fan
show
of Bruce
people
Lee.
This friggin'. It's like a Bruce Lee Letterman's jacket. It's got the B. That's freaking cool, man. I love that jacket.
Thanks.
It's got the yellow like his jumpsuit.
Yeah.
Freaking love that jacket. But he's buried up in Seattle, I think.
Yeah, that's in Seattle, Washington.
Yeah.
That's one of my bucket lists that I want to go visit and pay my respect to his grave.
Yeah. That's
like,
on my bucket list too. You know?
Yeah. It's like growing up, like I always like research about Bruce Lee. When I was a kid, I don't know who Bruce Lee like really is.
Well, yeah, you don't really understand when you're a kid. You just think he's a cool looking.
I was thought like just an actor, you know, just he's in a movie. But actually, like his stories, like it's really kind of crazy.
Yeah, he started acting when he was a kid. Yeah, then he got into dance and then the martial arts.
He's like basically like a little bit of everything.
Yeah, just dipping his just and man, he was a fascinating individual. Yeah, you gave me his book. Sambo gave me a book that Bruce Lee's daughter wrote, and I'm only halfway through it. I haven't finished it yet.
Yeah,
but such a fascinating dude when you learn about him. Because as an adult, you can actually understand.
Yeah,
and then you're going to understand this better than me. But I still understand it to a degree because I've lived in different countries.
Right.
But he had to move to America, and racism was much worse back then when he was around. Yeah. And he still, even despite all the obstacles. He learned English. He became a very famous actor, probably the most famous martial artist on the planet.
Yep.
And just became a superstar. What a fascinating story he has.
Yep. That's why I always learn something new about Bruce Lee all the time. You know, there's always, and not from the books, from the movies, and from his there's a podcast that his daughter talk with everybody that knew Bruce Lee too. Even like Sigang told me that he went to a Bruce Lee underground fight too.
Oh really?
Yeah, I just that's kind of crazy.
Dude, Sifu used to talk to me about that stuff too. I need to interview him and ask him about that.
Because martial art, like when you're in a martial art community, you travel everywhere when there's a tournament or a competition.
Yeah, well, especially back then.
Yeah.
Yeah, nowadays, luckily, we can compete. Like in Utah, there's always MMA, jiu-jitsu, wrestling tournaments, karate tournaments. It's very easy to compete.
Yeah.
Yeah, back in the day, it wasn't as easy. So, they would travel a ton.
Yep. And that's why he also, Bruce Lee, he made, Kung Fu famous, too. Because back in, his time, everybody only know, karate and taekwondo.
Right.
That's the only two styles that are most popular because,
And boxing. That was pretty popular back then, too.
So we want to...
And wrestling, yeah.
We want everybody to know, all these martial art came from China, too. So, that's why he's trying so hard just to popularize
Chinese martial
art and to basically just promote martial art, Chinese martial art.
And he did a great job. And he was one of the first teachers from China that was willing to teach foreigners. So he would teach all the Americans. Yeah, so
that's just really
it's no wonder we love him in America so much. He was one of the first that.
But okay, everybody in America loves him, but the Chinese community hate him.
Do they still hate him?
Well, I mean,
I know in Hong Kong they love him. I wonder how they feel in the rest of China. But back then, did they hate him back then?
Yes, they do.
I
because he just break the rule.
He broke the taboo of don't teach foreigners. Yeah.
Yeah, they just want to stick with that tradition, the Chinese. Even the Cambodian also have that tradition too.
Most places do.
Because
Most,
it's always traced back to a lot of history, like how like Japanese took over China and tried to
oh yeah,
kill, rape, and everything. So
yeah. They did that
also
to
want
Korea
to
too.
teach.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's why they have that rule not to teach outsiders. Have to keep everything to your family or to yourself, to your country.
Yeah. I read a book once. I can't remember the name of the book, but it was a book about karate. It was American. It was an American dude that wrote the book. But this American dude had studied several types of karate. I think he studied Shotokan and Goju Ryu, and I think he studied. I don't think he did Kyokushin. I don't think he trained it, but anyway. The point is, he was a scholar of karate. And in his book, he said that before karate made its way up to the mainland, that in Okinawa, the different tribes would sometimes settle disputes by sending their best fighter to fight the other guy. So instead of like going to war with a neighboring tribe, because if you go to war, you're going to lose a ton of good men, a bunch of husbands, and and hard workers who help the tribe run. So instead, you send your best warriors to fight each other, and only one man dies instead of hundreds. And in this book, he said that the tradition in karate of not sharing your techniques came because if a neighboring tribe learned about your techniques, they could learn how to defend against them.
Right.
And so he said that the tradition, and I don't know how true this is, but this is what the book said. He said that the tradition of guarding, at least in karate, guarding your techniques came because you just didn't want your opponents to find out. And that sounds very similar to what you're saying. You know, in China, maybe you don't want, if you're going to go to war against another country.
That's why, like in
this
China,
was before guns existed.
It's like there's a lot of custom and there's a lot of complex, like because that's why they have a lot of their own they call that's why there's Shaolin temple, there's a Wutang temple, and there's like a different family style, and it's just so many because they don't want to share at all, even like in their own country, but they're all like protected.
They're different like clans almost.
Different clan, and they don't want to share it because if they know my technique, they can like study you and just can like destroy you. You know
what's interesting? How jiu-jitsu did the exact opposite thing. And maybe that's just because Brazilian jiu-jitsu is a modern day martial art. I wonder if that's why. Because when the Gracies learned jiu-jitsu from the Japanese, and they actually did all they could to get the whole world. They made videos and they tried to sell the videos and they tried to get people to come to their schools. They started the UFC to get the name out there. They started opening gyms. It's just interesting. So I wonder if that happened just because it's a modern day style. Because back in the day, martial arts were life or death.
Correct.
It wasn't for making money, and it wasn't for.
It's about like fight to the death and honor.
Yeah. Nowadays it's for fun, for fitness. For money. I teach martial arts, and it's my source of income.
Correct.
But back then that wasn't the case. It was, honor and death. You know, you fight someone and die. I can see that. You get some Japanese soldier coming into your town, you're going to go fight him, someone's going to die. It's not just for fun. So, I can see why they'd be really secretive about it back then.
Yeah. That's why, you learn Wing Chun, you probably know the stories about Wing Chun then.
What stories?
So,
I don't know a lot of the history of Kung Fu.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So, Wing Chun was created by a Shaolin nun, right?
Oh, yeah, that's right. By a woman,
to fight with the Qing government.
Okay.
Which tried to took over everything.
Okay.
To destroy Shaolin Temple.
Okay.
So she created the style by watching the crane and a snake fighting each other.
Okay. Yeah, I knew that it was a combination of crane and snake.
Yeah, it's the origin. Like the original name is snake and crane technique, but then she passed it down to her very first student named Wing Chun.
Oh.
And then
interesting.
And that's why the name Wing Chun came after when she died. Then she passed all her style to her husband, and her husband want to honor his wife, so give that name Wing Chun.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's really cool. And
cool story.
when her husband, so basically it's not about a family. It's about to find the true like martial artist, like a honest one, like a good student,
Yeah.
So her husband, Wing Chun, passed it down to his nephew, and after that, like when he died, that's when his nephew carry on the style. So there's only one student for the Wing Chun until you've been passing down through all that until like World War II, when Ip Man, cannot do anything about it. You have to change. You have to change that custom, that the rule of like teaching one student. That's why it's just
times change.
Yeah, times change. You have to change. So that's why everybody know Wing Chun, and and like I went to do my research, like about like there's like about 5 million students around the world that practice Wing Chun.
Now, Ip Man, do you know where he was from originally?
He's from province in China called Foshan.
Foshan. Where do you know where?
That's in the southern.
South. Okay.
Yeah, in the southern China.
Because I know he went to Hong Kong, and that's where Wing Chun started to spread. So before that, he was from.
Because
say
at that time, Foshan.
Foshan. Okay.
So at that time, because of Japanese invading the southern, to that's why you get to Hong Kong. Because it's more like a north,
Oh, okay.
So it's more like protected by the British.
Yeah.
At that time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then from Hong Kong. Yeah, so I heard that mostly foreigners, not Chinese, learn Wing Chun.
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah.
And that's why it's it's so widespread around the world.
Yeah.
Because with a lot of like foreigners just go over there and just learn Wing Chun. And also like Wing Chun, there's a lot of different branch too.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So there's an Ip Man branch, and there's our Qigong master that taught him too, like just a different branch.
Different, yeah.
And just like a little
different genealogy.
Yeah, just a little different movement here and there, but there's
all martial arts are like that.
It's like karate, There's so many like versions of karate.
Well, even in jiu-jitsu, even though we have Brazilian jiu-jitsu, if you study Gracie style or Machado style, Claudio Franco, like if you study these different styles, they're all a little bit different, even though they're all jiu-jitsu. So I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
And that's normal. My jiu-jitsu that I teach is a little bit different than what my teacher taught me.
Yeah.
So, that makes complete sense that it changes every generation.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because time has passed and you have to change through time. You just cannot keep that tradition. Sometimes it's good to have that tradition, but sometimes you gotta make it to the market too, so to attract the student. That's how like I feel like sometimes martial arts it's kind of become like a business. You have to promote it too.
Yeah.
Because people can like oh that's cool. They don't want to learn it.
Yeah.
So
well, I got a question for you about the tradition stuff. Let me hear your opinion. So Bruce Lee, we were just talking about his quote, where I can't remember the exact quote, but keep what works and discard what doesn't work or what's not useful.
Correct.
What's your opinion about training martial arts as a tradition versus training martial arts as a way of fighting? Because if I go learn karate and I learn like a middle block, this middle block, I'm never going to use this in a fight, ever. But it's part of the tradition.
Yeah.
So if I go to like a freestyle karate class, have you heard of karate combat?
Yeah.
Dude, Boss Rutan's karate
It's
combat.
more like sport, right?
It's sport, yeah. But like, if you were to go to like a karate combat school, they would never teach you a middle block because you're never going to use that in a real fight. But it's part of the tradition. So what's your opinion on learning for fighting versus learning for the tradition?
I think, like, my opinion, like talking about like just example like karate. You learn the traditional way.
Yeah.
It's good to show, to perform, and also like if you're on the street, if you know the martial arts, but you fight against someone that doesn't know martial art, maybe that worked.
That's true. Yeah, that's a good point.
For the sport or for the combat, they teach you it's like what more updated in the modern day.
Yeah.
So you learn that. So if you got on the street, you against with someone that know martial art with different style, maybe you can use that to to defend yourself.
If you fought an educated opponent instead of an uneducated.
Yeah, there's a lot of way,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love training traditional styles, and it's fun, and that's why I do it. Like when I do,
and also like you're keeping tradition alive too. You're not trying to throw it away.
Yeah, I told you that I trained Tai Chi with Seagung Smith.
I watched your video too about Tai Chi too.
Oh yeah.
It's good.
And I love Tai Chi, and I still practice Tai Chi at least once a week. So I still do it pretty regularly. I don't do it every day like Jiu-Jitsu, but I do it like once a week, because I think it's enjoyable, and that's why I do it. But that being said, I'm never going to use any of those Tai Chi moves in a fight. If I go step into the cage or into the ring, or
it's too soft, and it's not. I mean, like I said, it's really beautiful movement.
Very beautiful,
but
very healthy. Good for meditation, but it's not for fighting. So I always have this struggle of how much traditional martial arts should you train, how much contemporary. Because if I'm getting ready for an MMA fight, Tai Chi is not going to help you get ready for that fight.
Yeah.
And so it's like, is it even worth training? I don't know. It's difficult for me to decide. But like you said, keeping the tradition alive, especially if it's part of your own heritage, like you with Bokator, like you are Cambodian, like you are like, I'm American, my heritage is mostly German, like German and English. I think are my two big, and Scottish. I think that's like my heritage. But there's no, I don't know, are there German or English martial arts or Scott? Like I don't know if there are, but like for you, there is a Cambodian martial arts. So like, it's awesome that you're it's part of your culture. So you're keeping it part of you. And so that's a good reason to train traditional. If it's like part of your heritage, I think. Also, if you just enjoy it, it's a good reason to train. But I like to ask people that question.
Yeah. No, because I think it's a really good topic to talk about, because when I learned Bokator, I didn't know like there's multiple version of it, like between like you train to earn your rank, to teach to the next generation, or you just want to train Bokator just to do your performance.
Yeah.
And one is a competition and one is a sport. It's like how like karate and taekwondo now they cut off a lot of stuff,
Yeah.
Because sometimes because you have it's like basically wushu.
Right.
Really fast, really athletic. Also like they throw away a lot of different forms.
Okay.
Because you have to make it like really short, like really fast, and more athletic, so people can see it. But like you put it in the combat and in a real fight, it's probably not gonna work at all.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And going back to what you were saying about like karate and taekwondo. Yeah. If you go to a taekwondo or karate tournament, they have a sparring division and a performance or a kata division. So I see what you're saying. It's like they're done separately. Yeah, and the kata stuff, you don't.
But sometimes that's also kind of bad too. If people only learn the sport or the performance, they don't learn the real thing, the tradition.
Yeah.
It might be lost.
Yeah.
That's why like Bokator almost lost. Because of the war.
Yeah. Well, that was because of the Khmer Rouge again. Yeah.
And I think like I feel like Bokator, I feel like it's like really like a really great martial art, because like you're thinking about it, like we lost a lot of like documents,
Oh, I'm sure.
and also like so you're thinking about like Cambodia always had war from the French, from the Pol Pot, the Khmer Rouge, the documentation and all the master either got killed or just hide themselves. They don't want to come out and just or they just live in Thailand and just become like a Thai citizen.
Yeah.
And they just change themselves. So they're teaching Muay Boran and Muay Thai and stuff.
Yeah.
And that's why like it's kind of hard to when you try to prove something but you don't have it.
Yeah.
But luckily
there's no
like
documentation.
Yeah, luckily like we have the temple just to prove that we have the art.
That is evidence.
That's like evidence, and is there proof right there? And in Thailand, you don't have anything.
Right.
They only have like whatever document that they have. And back then, like part of Thailand used to be Cambodia too, but because of the French make a deal with the Vietnamese and the Thai to
the borders and stuff like that. Yeah.
The money or the whatever that they trade.
Oh yeah.
So that's why a lot of land that Cambodian used to have. You heard of like Khmer Krom and Khmer Le?
No, what's that?
So part of the Khmer Krao is part of the Vietnamese.
Okay.
You know, like when you look at Cambodia right here, this is Khmer Krao.
Okay.
That's because you're thinking about like Khmer Krao is part of Vietnam's like the Ho Chi Minh City or Saigon.
So it's kind of on the west side or the south of Cambodia?
That's out the south.
The south, okay.
Part of the Vietnamese they call Khmer Krao.
Okay.
But when you look at on the upper side, it's Khmer Le. It means like upper of the Cambodian.
Okay.
That's all like more like Thai that took over. That the
okay.
French, you know, make a deal with the Thai people and not the Vietnamese. You know, if we give this much, and that's why a lot of the Cambodian land took. It's been you know.
It's like taken from the Cambodians and given to other countries. Mm-hmm. Wow, I did not know that history.
They make a lot of deals. It's like you're thinking about Hawaii and Alaska, right?
Yeah, oh, I see what you're saying.
So and part of like California and Texas used to be part of Mexico.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like they took over everything, and now it's like become. And if the people that lived there already, so now they like become like Americans. They're Mexican or they're like Hawaiian.
Yeah,
you know, they're Americans, and like in Alaska, there's Eskimo, right?
Yeah.
So now they're Americans because U.S. took over. So
yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, and, and
I did not know that about Cambodia.
Yeah, like the Pol Pot, like they store a lot of documents and stuff like that, and that's why the Thai. You're thinking about Thai. The last couple 100 years ago, never have any war. They always have a certain way, or I feel like they're clever.
Yeah.
Make a lot of deals or whatever. You know?
Yeah.
So. And they change a lot of the histories, and they teach all their younger generation. Oh, now the Cambodian are the bad one that tragedy took from us and all of that, and it just and the Vietnamese too. They say they change the history. So the Thai and the Vietnamese is usually part of like small tribe or small of China. So they just move. You know how like Australia, you know, part of them came from England.
From Europe, England, yeah.
So it's just
kind of like that.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying.
You know.
Yeah, the history of the world is so fascinating.
I never learned that in a history book at all. I have to do my own research and everything.
Yeah.
And watch a lot of documentaries, listen to a lot of podcasts.
Yeah.
And article.
Yeah, well, we can only learn so much history from school, you know.
Yeah, they want to teach you what they want you to learn.
Well, that too, yeah.
You know.
Yeah, and you have to do a lot of your own research to really, especially if you're curious about Southeast Asia. Yeah, you got to study it on your own.
And also, like, part of your traveling teach you too, you know.
Big time.
Yeah, you go into museum, you meet people, and you learn all this.
Big time.
Yeah, you learn a lot.
Traveling is huge for education.
Yeah.
I love traveling. Yeah, you learn so much. Yeah, well, so I got a question for you about Bokator again.
Yeah.
So, how long would you say you'd need to study Bokator to get okay at it? Let me give you an idea. Like, if you want to go study boxing, I could probably teach you a jab, cross, hook, day one. I could teach you in 5 minutes how to do a jab, cross, hook. To get you good at it, you maybe need like 3 months. After 3 months, you could spar, and you'd know how to keep your hands up and throw a punch. But for jiu-jitsu, like, it might take you 2 years to get okay at it. I could teach you how to do a choke day one, but like,
to get better,
teaching how to actually fight using it might take you closer to 2 years to be decent. But what do you think for Bokator? What do you think the time frame would be like?
So for Bokator, like
if I wanted to go learn, but I didn't want to suck at it. Like I don't want to do it for the rest of my life. I want to do it long enough to get okay at it. What would you think?
I think the white groma system or the white belt system in Bokator is all the foundation there. Basically, I felt like you're combining like you know how like when you're learning karate you have to learn from like yellow, green, blue, or orange, purple.
Yeah.
I feel like all those belts combine together to become a white belt.
Okay.
So that's why there's 2 forms in the white groma system, and also there's like 100 techniques.
Oh wow.
So that's why it took you forever to complete to get your upper level.
So by the time you get your green belt, you already know quite a bit.
Yeah, so
your
that's
green
why
Kroma, I mean, yeah.
The foundation of the white groma, if you do it at about like just say 2 hours a day.
Okay.
For 3 months, pretty sure you will like comfortable with it and you're really good at it.
Okay.
you're able to use it to defend yourself.
Okay.
Maybe you're not able to fight with like 4 or 5 people.
Like in the movies.
Yeah, like in the movie, but at least you know how to use your body and your sensitivity. You know, a lot of all of that. So
you'd say about 3 months maybe to start to get a good idea of how to.
But if you have like a background like from different style of martial art, maybe you learn quicker. Because you know sometimes
that's a good point.
Because sometimes you learn because it's only sometimes you might learn like how to punch or how to kick. Sometimes it's similar, so you already learn that. So when you learn the Bokator, so it take you probably like from beside 3 months. Now you only learn 2 months.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's faster. You already know already. So I think you can be more better on what you just start from scratch. Because
of course,
when I started, I know Wing Chun.
Yeah.
Then when I learned Bokator, okay. Then when I started learning all these movement, this a little bit similar. Then you know, but you learn fast and your mind is just there.
Yeah.
You know, you don't forget.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. I've experienced that with other martial arts, so I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
That's dope, man. That's cool. That's all the questions I've got. Anything else you want to talk about, or any questions you have, or?
I don't know.
All right, well, let's call it good. That was a great interview, man. That was a lot of fun chatting with you.
Yeah.
It's always a pleasure to see you, Sambo. Always a pleasure.
Me too, bro.
You know, you're one of the best people I've ever met.
I feel like God meant it for us to meet and to have this connection because
feels like that,
our story is so crazy.
It's so weird. It's so insane.
Yeah, because you know.
Yeah, it's
all a connection. Like, it's really coincident too, you know.
Yeah, super coincidental.
You tell everybody like it's people are not gonna believe it. You know.
Yeah, but dude, I've missed you, man. I haven't seen you for a few months. Yeah.
Yeah, because of work, man.
So. Yeah, well, me too, man. I've been busy too.
Yeah.
That's just life. But yeah, I'm gonna try to make it down to Salt Lake more often so that we can hang and train some more.
Yeah.
And you have a wooden dummy.
Yeah.
Here,
you want me to show you around?
Yeah, sure.
Backyard, yeah.
Let's go ahead and end the interview first.
Okay,
we'll say goodbye, and then you can show me around. That'd be great.
Yeah.
But I can see the wooden dummy. Yeah, dude, I would love.
Yeah.
So Sifu, he taught me some wooden dummy, but I didn't practice it very much. It didn't like stick in my brain, you know.
Yeah.
So
I think I get to like about two. I think I don't know how many sections are there.
Are there 3 sections, or are there more?
There are more. It's like 108 movement.
Oh, okay.
But there's like
108 movements, just like 108 beads. I wonder if that's connected.
So 108 movement, but like you know, he had to break it down to section. I only learned like 2 section, 3 section.
Okay.
You know?
Okay.
But mostly like it's once you learn how to use it, it's basically just repeat itself, just the left and the right.
Oh, I see.
You know.
I see.
Yeah.
If I ever open a gym again, I would love to have a wooden dummy in my gym. You know, the last time I had a gym, it was just standard punching bags.
That's what I just been trying to working on it just to open a Bokator school here. You know, in the future. You know, I just want to follow your footsteps too. You know, because you're teaching jiu-jitsu and Muay Thai and all that and boxing.
Yeah.
I just want to spread and promote Bokator. You know.
Good. Yeah.
Since now, like you know, Bokator's like more like well known now and.
We should do a couple of Bokator videos just for my channel, and I'll link them. I'll link them to this, and and I'll link your channel, as I've already said, to this, so that you guys can go see some more Bokator content. And then you also have Wing Chun content.
Yeah.
What other content do you have?
So basically, my channel called Close Combat Martial Art Training, right?
Close Combat Martial Art Training.
Yeah. Okay. So basically, what I mean is just like I focus on my close combat training.
Okay.
Like I'm still in training. I'm not like a master or anything.
Right.
Because every day is part of your journey, part of your training.
Okay, yeah.
You know, no matter how good you are, you still have to get up and just do the basic.
Of course.
Right?
Yeah.
So I only I put like some Shaolin Kung Fu videos, like, you know, Wing Chun and Bokator videos or health and fitness, stuff like that, you know. Everything that relating to part of your body, martial art or fitness, is going to be in that channel. Okay, great. Yeah. Well, hopefully we'll get some traffic over there for you. Yeah. You know what else I want to do if I open a gym again? I want to put a makiwara in. Do you know what a makiwara is? It's in karate. They have like this, there are these wooden boards and they like wrap rope around it and you do it for knuckle conditioning. I think I do have that. So I've been doing knuckle conditioning for the past like 6 months.
and like feel this, man. Like grab my knuckle. You see how like thick it's getting?
Yeah.
Like let me show the camera. I don't know if you can see very well, but my knuckle's starting to get really, really calloused.
Actually, they focus on your hand too.
Yeah, it's focusing, but my knuckle's starting to get really calloused. I'm not getting it on this knuckle as much yet, but my middle knuckle's getting really calloused. And I started doing it actually because I saw a picture of Bruce Lee, and he was just like smiling, doing a thumbs up or something.
Yeah.
But you could see on his hand that his bottom 3 knuckles were like extremely calloused. I should find the picture and show you.
Yeah, that will be great.
But then you see all these old school karate fighters, and they all have like these top 2 knuckles extremely calloused. And I always just thought it looked really cool. You know, I was like, oh, I want to look like one of these old school karate masters. So I've been doing knuckle conditioning for the past about 6 months, and it's been working pretty well.
I think like the more conditioning that you do, part of your body, your arms and your legs, your shin, whatever.
Yeah.
And how it build, make you stronger. You know.
Oh yeah, it makes your bones stronger,
yeah.
muscles obviously, but yeah, big time just makes your bones and skin.
And also
stronger.
like you have to apply some like a wine medicine.
Oh yeah, the jiao.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the jiao.
Yeah.
To help us prevent from injuries and also make us stronger at the same time.
Because that has happened a few times. I've bruised my knuckle too much, and and then I wasn't able to do any knuckle conditioning for like 2 weeks.
So basically, you just stop like for a few weeks. To get it healed back and.
Yeah, I need to. Yeah, I want to visit Sifu to go pick up some jiao as well.
Yeah.
I have no idea where you would buy jiao. Maybe online.
Yeah. There's a lot of different jiaos online. Like it's like almost like some different schools have different ingredients, but it's almost the same thing.
Yeah.
You know?
Sifu makes his own. Have you ever tried making jiao before?
Oh, I talked to Xigong before. Like he said, like it's a lot of ingredients.
Really?
And it's hard to get too. All those like Chinese medicine. Sometimes all those like those herbs. Yeah. It's hard to find because nowadays like you have it's like you have to go to the mountain to go find those herbs. It's just not like you just buy at the market. And
probably a lot of them aren't available in America.
Mm-hmm.
Probably a lot of them you have to special order or just go find. Huh. Yeah. He makes it in his garage. He told me that he lets it sit for like a year and just ferment.
I think the longer, the better. It's like how the wine that you drink.
Like the wine you drink, the longer the better.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, maybe one of these days I'll learn to make jiao. Cool. All right. Well, again, Sambo, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks, bro.
Everybody,
thanks for having me.
Thanks for watching. Check out the links below. We'll see y'all next time.
Cool. Peace.
Way to go, man.
Cool.
You can cut it if you want.
Yep.
Please send this to me.
Yeah.